How much can you really take away from summer pickup games at North Carolina? I'm Jacob Turner, back with another solo daily drop here at TarHeelIllustrated.com. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit the notification bell as well, so you know every single time we upload. I'm diving straight into this one. I want this one to be a little bit shorter of a drop. I'm trying to keep this one short. It seems like every time I do a drop, I end up going 30 minutes somehow. So the goal on this was to keep this pretty short and simple. But I want to pose the question I just asked to you guys. How much can you take away from summer pickup games? Now, let me give a little background before we dive into it, and I give my opinion on this. And I'll preface it also by saying that this is a discussion that me and AJ have had, I know off camera multiple times, but I believe we have discussed this on podcast before. I think it's been a while, but we have discussed this a little bit in previous pods and UNC basketball shows. So just to give a little background for those who, I'm sure most people know, you're a Carolina fan watching this, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, during the summer, every summer, Carolina has a ton of pros, former players return to Chapel Hill, and they essentially play summer pickup games, summer scrimmages in the Smith Center against each other. Also current players, obviously, there as well, as it's a great experience for them to get. But I think one of the reason I wanted to come on here and talk about this is because I personally believe people take way too much and look way too much into stats and box scores that can be kind of leaked or released from these scrimmages that aren't really supposed to be made available out there. Again, it's a summer pickup game. I don't know why there's a box score to begin with, but this information does get released to people. And I think, fans in particular really take a lot from it. And I don't agree with it. And again, I understand the interest in it. It is cool. And there was also some videos released this year of the scrimmages where you can almost watch, the whole scrimmage in some of these YouTube videos. And again, it's interesting to watch. It's interesting to see and kind of cool to see former players come back to Chapel Hill, pros or retired pros or guys that, maybe are playing overseas and not playing in the NBA. You'll see in the thumbnail that we have here for this video, you got, just to name a few, the photos that Carolina released: Danny Green, Cole Anthony, Luke May, Brady Manick, guys like that, Justin Jackson returning for these summer pickup games. And I'll start with this. It's cool. It's good experience for the current players. 100%. I mean, it's always good to go up against a former guys, high level guys, all ACC players, like a guy like Justin Jackson, a guy like Brady Manick, who was so good when he was here in that one year. It's good experience for especially some of these young guys like a Drake Powell, like an Ian Jackson, to come in and get that experience. I mean, some people may have seen the podcast that Armando Bacot did with Theo Pinson, Run Your Race, a few weeks ago. And, just saying it's a fantastic podcast. But one of the interesting things, and this is a story we'd heard before, but Armando kind of talked about it and opened up about it a little bit more for the first time, of his kind of welcome to Carolina moment, if you want to call it, was getting kind of ran through, or Tyler Hansbrough running through his face, in a summer pickup game, and having to go to, the hospital, and Hansbrough not even say anything to him. And again, that's invaluable experience. That's invaluable, maybe not getting your face ripped off or whatever happened in that instance, but it's invaluable experience for a guy like Armando as a freshman to play like someone against Tyler Hansbrough. I'm not disputing that. I think it also is a cool thing and a unique thing that makes the Carolina basketball family so cool and so different than, most other programs, if not every program around the country. Even the ones down the road, the brotherhood thing, I don't think it's quite the same, as it is at Carolina, especially when you consider how many pros constantly come back, to play in these pickup games and come to games and all that jazz. But, big but here. I think people look way too much into them, though. I mentioned earlier these stats, these box scores, these things that are kind of leaked and put on message boards and all that stuff. It's cool. It's cool to see how maybe current players or young guys are maybe faring in these games. But guys, it's a pickup game. It's a scrimmage. Some of these guys are going against, granted, Danny Green, really nice NBA career, won some championships, fantastic. Mid-30s now. That competition level doesn't compare to what it's like putting on that Carolina uniform, going up against, let's say, non-conference, a top 10, top 15, top 20 opponent on the road or in the Smith Center when the lights are on, when if you lose and it counts as a loss. And if you win, it's great and it counts as a win. but it's not the same. It's not comparable. And again, I'll preface it by saying I think the experience is good. What I'm arguing on here and what I'm saying, I know AJ feels a similar way to this too, as we've discussed this before. What I'm saying on this is I think people look way too much into it. I think people put way too much stock in these reports and these box scores that are released. Like, oh man, Ian Jackson had 15 points in the scrimmage. It's a pickup game. It's just, what? Why? The confusing part for me is I think people look at it and say, okay, so-and-so had a really good game in this in this scrimmage, or so-and-so, he didn't really do much this summer in these pickup game stats that are being released. Is he not that good? Is he not going to be very good for Carolina? How can you compare a summer scrimmage pickup game in the Smith Center? And watch the videos too. It's not an elite level back and forth ACC, Division I, top 25, Power 5 conference, real life game speed that these guys are playing in. It's just not. It's never going to be like that. And again, there's no pressure on these guys. Again, they want to impress some of these former players that come back. They want to impress maybe some of their current teammates, especially some of these new guys. But there's no pressure on these guys to perform in these scrimmages. The lights aren't on. The cameras aren't showing it. There's not 20,000 people in the Smith Center. They're not having to go on social media after the scrimmage and see if they lose the scrimmage and see all these Carolina fans railing on them because they lost a game in the Smith Center to some, maybe somebody they shouldn't have. It doesn't compare. It's not the same. So I come on here to say it's cool. It's great experience. But stop looking so much into it. Stop reading so much into these summer scrimmages that go on. It's not that serious. The main focus should be the experience the guys are getting, going up against former guys, maybe picking up on things that former Carolina greats who come back and play, like a Tyler Hansbrough, like a Danny Green, picking up on some of these things that they do in games. But at the end of the day, just to name those two guys, they're mid-30s, going up against some 18, 19-year-olds. Again, the experience is cool, but it's nowhere near the same as a regular season matchup against anybody, really. It's just not the same. There's not the same level of pressure that comes with that when, like I've said a few times, a win is a win and a loss is a loss. That is a completely different type of pressure that comes into that. So you can't look at a box score or scrimmage and say, oh man, Drake Powell had, 15 in this scrimmage, man. He's going to tear it up when the season comes around. It has zero indication on what's going to happen when the lights come on and when it really matters. It just doesn't. It's good to see a positive stat. It's good to maybe see that, oh, he had a good game. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. He had a nice performance here. It's good. It's not a negative to see that. But on the flip side, it's also not a negative if a guy maybe isn't performing that well in these scrimmages. You also don't know how healthy is this guy. What level of shape is this guy in? Is he being told, maybe these current players I'm referring to, is he being told to go out there and I want you to focus on this and this and this? Is the guy who's guarding him being told by one of the coaches or one of the assistants or something like that, hey, I want you to be really rough and really physical on this guy to kind of get him prepared for what he's going to face in ACC play? You wouldn't be surprised if you see that with a guy like Ian Jackson, with a guy like Drake Powell, with a guy like James Brown that are participating in these. Those things you can get great experience from doing it. And you can learn things from these older guys when you're playing in these scrimmages. But again, the thing that I think people look too much into is they almost take this stuff as gospel. Like, people are like clamoring to see these stats. People are running to watch these videos. But I think, and that's great. Look at those. That's cool. I'm not saying don't do that. But stop putting so much stock in these scrimmages, because at the end of the day, it is a summer pickup game. 3 words right there, or 4 words. 3 words hyphenated, 1 word pickup, whatever you want to say. We'll say 3 words here because we're going to put a hyphen between the pickup. Summer pickup game. Doesn't compare, man. It doesn't compare. Had to get that off my chest. I know AJ agrees with me for the most part on that. It's something we've discussed off length at all. Just got to stop putting so much credence in it. I think there's way too big of an overreaction when these stats get leaked and when some of this videos get put out and people like analyzing it like it's a game tape. Like, this is taken from a regular season matchup or something. Like, it's a pickup game, man. You're going up against guys who are in the 30s. Come on, man. It's just some late 30s. Some guys just coming back ain't played professional basketball and legit professional basketball in years. They're not in game shape. It's just not the same. And again, the experience is cool. It's good that you really pick up on some nice things. Can maybe give you some confidence going into the season, knowing that, hey man, I put 12, 15 points up a couple of times on a guy like Danny Green. That's cool, man. Maybe I can do this at the real level. but it doesn't compare to the pressure that comes along with playing North Carolina. It doesn't compare to what you can't take too much from it, because at the end of the day, when those lights turn on and when you got North Carolina written across your chest and it's real life and a loss really counts as a loss, it's a completely different type of pressure that comes with, yeah, it's a pickup game. We win, we lose. Guys are competitive. That's great. But like I said, people on social media aren't clamoring and slamming them. And we're getting on podcasts saying, why is this so-and-so not performing like this? It just doesn't compare. It's just not the same. Stop taking so much credence and stop putting so much stock in these summer pickup games. Enjoy them. Watch the videos. Look at the stats. Not telling you not to. It's not that serious though, guys. It's just not. TargetIllustrated.com, $8.33 a month. Come subscribe. Links in the description below. Been the same price for over 10 or about 10 years now. I mean, it's really a no-brainer when you think about it to come sign up over here. You get tons of extra content, access to our premium message boards. It's just a great place to be, man, especially with the football season knocking on the door right now in basketball. It'll be here before you know it as well. Tell your friends. Stop putting so much stock in summer pickup game stats and box scores that are released. It ain't that serious, guys. Come on. We're better than that. I'm Jacob Turner. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell too. Make sure you like the video below too. Come on, guys. Just run it. It takes 2 seconds. I'm gonna give you guys 5 seconds real quick. I'm gonna give you guys about triple the time it takes to hit the. I mean, heck, it takes a second to do it. Really, I'm gonna give you guys 5 times the amount of time it takes to hit the like button right now. Appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks.